Welcome to this quick introduction of Grid Recorder. Grid Recorder is a tool that allows you to record the raw UDP tracking stream alongside your camera feed. Once a recorder has been recaptured, you can also use Grid Recorder to play back that recording. When you're playing back the recording, it would appear as if you have a live tracked camera on your system, even though the camera is switched off or your entire camera and tracking system is not even connected. This opens up many possibilities for offline camera calibration, rehearsal, and troubleshooting. So here we have the Grid Recorder opened, and in the top left corner, you can see that there's an indicator. By clicking on it, would actually toggle between the recorder mode that we are in over to the play mode that we're in right now. So let's start with talking about the recorder mode. The recorder mode, as mentioned earlier, the main purpose of that is to record the camera feed and your UDP tracking data. So the first thing, of course, you would want to select is the video source and the tracking data where it's coming from. So you just need to select the source for the SDI feed. And of course, you would need to add a UDP stream. I'm going to disable the outputs just because I don't need any outputs right now. And I need to adjust my port number just to match what is the being received or what's being sent from the tracking data. So that's all that is needed for set up the different sources. The next thing that you would want to configure is the recording settings and where those files are located and so on. So you can choose the different container. So for example, I can choose MOV, and let's say I can swap it over to Apple ProRes as the codec. I don't have any audio in this situation, so that doesn't matter. And then I'm going to choose a folder under the documents folder called recording, and I can also give it a name. So let's say test recording, and that's it. Then you would, once we press the recording button, the file will be saved with these settings into this specific folder. So once we're ready, we can then just click on this recording button and we can start recording. You can see that we have a tally showing that we are starting to record. And also there's an indicator saying that we are receiving UDP packets. And those are the raw UDP packets. So as long as your tracking data is being sent via UDP, we can record that alongside with the camera feed so that they can be played back at a later time. When you're done with your recording, all you need to do is just click on stop, and the recording will stop. And we can then just very quickly open up the recording folder that we have targeted earlier. And you can see we have the MOV file, which is the actual video file, alongside with some metadata specifically related to the tracking data that we have recorded. So all of these files are necessary when you want to play back the recording at a later time. Switching over to the playback mode. Now, as you can imagine, we would also need to do some configurations on the playback. So we can, over here on the player settings, you can define the path where the recordings are stored. So again, we can click on here and we can just select the same recording folder that we did the recording from earlier. And we would need to enable a sender. This is defining the video outputs where the video will be played back. So I have a decklink 8K and I'm just sending out to the SDI there. And of course, I need a UDP to then send out the data. And that's why I need to disable the inputs and only leaving the outputs enabled, selecting the right interface that I'm sending out from and the target IP. So let's say I'm sending it out to 40 here defining the whichever port number that you desire. Then the next thing that you can do is click on play, and you can then see that we can detect the recording file that was in the folder defined. So we can just select that, and then now we would be playing that recording that we did earlier. There are additional settings here. For example, you can choose to toggle this loop button here. So this can then just continuously keep playing. So once it gets to the end of the video, it will then just, like a normal video player, it will just loop to the very start of the video and continue playing and keep playing continuously. You do have a pause to just temporarily pause your playback, and you can then start the playback again by clicking on the play. And of course, there is a stop button to stop the playback. And if you got that data being played back on another machine, you can set up a Grid Studio to receive that information again through a media inputs, as you can see here. And also we can receive the tracking data, as you can see here. Then you are free to use that data however you like. For example, you can then open up the capture for the calibration and actually start doing a calibration of that camera while you actually don't have direct access to the camera and its tracking system.